So coming in here, I've cleared out our program, and I want to put a little bit of math and a few networks. So I'm just going to go ahead and add another network. So I've got 3 networks here. And on this first rung, let's say we're going to do a little bit of math. So I'm going to do some addition. And let's see, we're going to bring in a value of 10 plus 20, and we're going to write that out to, let's say, val1. Okay, and it's looking for a data type here. We're going to say that those are ints. There, everything is happy. Okay, so on this rung, we're adding 10 plus 20, and we're setting value 1. Down here, we're going to do something else for value 1. So here, we're going to pull in a subtraction block, and we're going to say 20 minus 5. That is actually going to be val1. Okay? And then down here, we're going to do something just to really look at val1. So we're going to, let's just pull in an absolute value of val1. And we'll set that equal to AV1, absolute value 1. And we will define that locally. Okay, and this subtraction needs a data type, so we're going to give that integer. It likes it. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. When we start running this program, we're going to add 10 and 20 and set that to value 1. But in the very next step, we're going to change value 1 and set it equal to 20 minus 5, which is 15. And then in network 3, we're going to take the absolute value of value 1 and store it in AV1, which the absolute value of something is basically, if it's negative, it becomes positive. So the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. The absolute value of 5 is still 5. So since we're not going to be ending up with any negative values in here, what's going to come out of the absolute value is going to be whatever value 1 actually is. So that's all we're really doing here. Now, here's where we're going to get tricky. What we want to test is our jump, right? So right here under this add, I'm going to add another rung, and consumption of application resources has reached the critical limit, and it's telling me to close some things. Okay, that's really strange, and I'm not sure why it's doing that, so I'm going to try to solve that my own way. Let's stop our processor, hit OK, go offline, hit OK. And what program are we in? We're in our proof of concept program. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, close it. I'm going to take our PLC sim and I'm going to close that. And let's just run up TIA Portal again. And it looks like the TIA Portal might have a resource leak in this update because it seems to have run out of resources on a machine that can more than comfortably handle what we were doing. I mean, this is a MacBook Pro, and MacBook Pros are terrible, terrible computers, but it does have 16 gigs of RAM. So it should be able to handle such a simple program like we were using. But anyway, here we go. We've got this thing started back up, opening the project view. Sorry for this little delay, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the video so that you see the problem, and if this fixed it, and I'm sure it did, at least you know how to fix it. So let's go back into our main program, and hopefully we haven't lost everything, because we did try to save it, but with that weird resource thing, I don't know, maybe we lost everything. Let's find out. Nope, there's our program, and we were just starting this rung here. So on this rung, I'm going to put a normally open contact, and then watch this. Over here on our instructions palette, I'm going to come down here to program control, and I want to put in a jump right there. Okay. And this, I'll just go ahead and use our N1 because that's global and it's something that we want to be able to modify. And now for this jump, it's looking for a label. Okay? We don't have a label anywhere yet, so we're going to create one. Let's come over here, take label, drag it down here, and let's just give it a name, and I'll just call it Destination 1. There, that sounds great, doesn't it? Now, when I come over here to address my jump, there's my only option of where to jump to. So, what's the idea? The idea is that after we run this rung, and we're going to run this rung every time, value should be set to 30. Well, sometimes we're going to skip this, so when we come down here, it should still be 30. The rest of the time, we're going to do this, but then immediately after, whenever we come down here, we're going to set the value again, and it's going to be 15. So that 30 that we create up here is never going to come down to our absolute value. So if we do jump over this instruction, what we have down here should be 30. If we don't jump over this instruction, then what we come down here and find should be 15. Okay, that sounds, kind of complicated maybe. It should be pretty obvious, but regardless, let's run this thing up on on the simulator, and let's find out. Let's use PLC Sim, the simulator, and let's try to get this thing tested and working. So everything compiles good. That's a good thing. Let's go ahead and minimize that, and we want to tell it to go ahead and start the module, finish, okay, and go online, and then we want to go into monitoring. Okay, so right away we're adding 10 and 20, we're getting 30, then we're coming down here and we're getting 15, but when we come down here, sure enough, that 30 got overwritten, so what we ended up with down here is a 15. When we toggle this, now when we come down here, we're getting a 30. Why? Because this right here is not getting executed. We're running this, then we're running this, and since this is true, we're jumping down to this label, and then we're continuing from there. So you come down here and you see this 15, right? Well, this 15 is grayed out because this is not actually happening. You see how this is all dark green, and this is this really kind of faded green. It's almost hard to see. That's because even though there's nothing on here to make any of this untrue, or to stop it from being energized, we are skipping it. So this 15 is never actually getting put into value 1. The 30 is getting put into value 1, and then we're jumping straight down here. So that is it. That's how you do jump and label.